rounders onto your knee if you wouldn't mind, please. Just clip them on your knee. Right, okay. Again next time. Oh well. Yeah, all good. And now with your masks, if you just like to put them on your face, I'm going to go around and try and catch your slow time and adjust the straps for you. Oops, sorry. Just hold it on. Just hold on to your face. That's it. Okay. I appreciate the help. Honestly, it's easier for us than you.
Yeah, it is.
That was for everybody else, not you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll adjust it in a wee while.
Oh, you're sick. I'm sick.
Something loads in your hair then, I'm afraid. Oh, not again. All this hair. Okay, you alright? No. It looks alright to me. If you're happy, I'll leave her alone. How you doing? Just fits like a beer.
What a patient. Yeah.
How are we doing there, bud?
All good. How long is this for? My first stroke in the chamber, I have.
That's around. You're happy, I'm happy. That's okay. Anybody else feel they need a little bit of adjustment going on? Oh, happy days. They're an easy crowd. As you can feel already, it started to warm up again because the temperature of the hull was greater than that of the atmosphere, and it quickly warms it back up. The gas you're breathing now is 100% oxygen. And the gauge that's flicking around over there, you can see you breathing off it. But because you can't metabolise. Because obviously you can't use all that oxygen, when you breathe it out it's still very rich. And if you breathe it out into the chamber, the oxygen level in here will go flying up, so it gets drawn out of the chamber and discharged out into the car park.
You might do one of the little after. How long does the 2 pumps come to last?
I've got mine on yours. What's still yours?
Yeah.
6.4.
Oh, weather game again. Right, okay, let's see how we do this time.
You're somewhat disadvantaged in getting the letters, but I feel like you need more disadvantage after your last one.
Okay.
Not only do they do it first, but they use the same colour for all the letters as well.
Okay, so this time it has to be the same colour as the numbers. Right, got you. I got it. Okay, so this time you have to get the colour.
You get the same card again, let me know, won't you?
Alright, if we remember to. I remember the middle number, I do. 19 it was. 19, I believe.
Nice usual, all low numbers.
Yep, we got our card. Okay, right, so let's see. See. Oh, that's a green. The others are gone. No green C is there. You just C and an 8. So don't the colours have to match? Oh, well done, 8 and a 9. Okay. Blue eye. Blue eye. Hey.
That's it. Hey!
All in blue as well.
Wow!
There is no blue eye.
Yeah. I'm afraid.
There was no eye, there was a
strong spirit of competition in this group.
Yes. What do they spell? I have to work that out. Yeah, I thought the letters had to match the colours of the numbers. I did. I thought that's what he said.
Put it back in again. No.
First thing you'll see, we got it straight away.
The only thing that's really great is the ball. Yeah. When I first came to work here, I was surprised to find there was no carbon dioxide removal equipment in here.
Really? Oh.
And I thought, how does that work? There's 10 of us in here, racing top, well, me more than you now because you're on the mask. But the part until we got to the deco stop, that's been quite a long time. 10 of us all in one compartment here. When you go on the mask, your exhale breath goes out to the car park through a lower pressure line. It's just a line with a valve on it. You open it, you see letting air out of the chamber, dragging your breath with it, and also part of the atmosphere will be taking my carbon dioxide away. But something's got to replace that because we're constantly deflating the chamber, so we've got to constantly replenish it as well. So it's kind of hungry from a compressor point of view because we're using a lot of air, whereas it's not using any CO2 absorbing capability. So it kind of swings and roundabouts. And it's also one less power supply.
How much longer are we going to be in this decom state?
That you need inside the chamber because less is more with electricity in chambers and fires. Even the lighting is on the outside. It comes through a full of prisms, and the actual electrics and the lighting is on the outside of the chamber. Not very much at all. It's mostly absorbent material. Yeah, the most interesting thing we've got in there is the cadet airway. That's about as much as we go. In case someone goes unconscious on the way back to the surface, we can at least try to give some kind of support to the airway. And back valves in, mask up there, but generally speaking, if you've got someone in that kind of condition, get on the surface so you've got access to the breathing. Although when you're in this environment, it's so oxygenated, the chance of a heart attack is deemed to be somewhat less and it would have been under normal circumstances. So you can't always work on that premise, I don't suppose. Oh yes, yeah. Can I have the medical lock, please? Is there any debris of ping pong balls you can reach for me? Just so I don't get any cut these injuries, that would be great. Thank you. Just asking this device to be passed to us, and using a complicated communication system. Chris will tell me that he's...
Do you want to take one of you?
He'll tell me that he's shut the outer door and it's clipped shut. I can actually physically see it from here as well. By opening this, I can pressurise that little nose want the burger hatch, which is probably a more accurate description. Whilst this door is open...
I got mine from over here.
Thank you very much. Nice one. Cheers.
Okay. Yeah, here. Debris.
Excellent.
There you go.
You can come here again. That's great.
We dropped a piece we did on the floor. And there's a tiny piece there is over by down there, tiny piece, it's down by her left foot.
Lovely. Yeah. I think I'm happy at this point. Thank you. Door lock.
Okay.
The photograph of the goats was the animal phase of a trial that I was involved in the Navy. We obviously used animals first to see where the expectations were going to lie and that the system worked correctly. And they had a series of chambers very similar to this, but rather than cylindrical, spherical ones joined together with an connecting door. And we're saturating for 5 meters for 24 hours. To try and simulate a submarine that was stuck on the seabed that had got a partial flood. And so the guys then had to use the escape equipment to get out of the submarine and get back to the surface. The obvious challenge is that you're at sort of 1.5 atmospheres in the submarine or 1, whatever it may be. And you've got to equalise the pressure to the outside sea before you can make the journey back up. So you have sort of like these portals, escape carriers, where 1 or 2 men at a time can fly them. Plug into an air supply which inflates the suit, gives them air to breathe and the buoyancy to get back up to the surface. The problem is it's an air dive to what is designed to work at 200 metres. So it's a challenge to make that safe by reducing the amount of time you're under pressure. And you just have a look at your watch just then and you worked out the deco for this dive by your watch was a minute at 3 metres. This equipment doesn't afford you any deco stops because you're obviously just floating back to the surface in a submerged submarine. So you do this 200 metres of pressurisation using the power of the outside sea pressure, obviously. It's full of blood cells, the water comes crashing into the tower, displacing the air through a vent line back into the submarine. And then you reach a point where you shut that vent line when the water starts coming out of it, so you're only pressurising the final level of gas in the roof of the chamber that is hot. It gets extremely hot. When but there's an isolating period there where there's a plank so you don't put your head in the very hot air, you're in the watery part. But it does mean that it's got to pressurise in 20 seconds. So you go from surface 200 metres in 20 seconds. We just went from surface to 40 metres in around about 8 minutes. So it's incredibly quick. You've really got to clear it ever so fast. However, if you fail to do that, the worst that can happen is that you'll get a ruptured tympanic membrane. I'm sure you'll swap that for perishing on the seabed in a watery grave. So that's the system. I mean, it's got to be able to recognize that properly. You're still left with a potential of around about 7% incidence of decompression illness in the escapers. But hopefully by buying the time staying down there for so long, the chamber will have got on site, or at least some surface oxygen to process them. So when they finished with the goats, we got to get in there, and it was kind of smelly, and they've obviously done their level best, but you just don't get the smelly goat wee out of anything. And so we spent sort of a 24-hour period at 5 metres eating Chinese and watching telly on a reverse screen. And then the following morning we climbed into the small sphere, and put our suits on, and then we would charge the 3 metre sphere that we just left to a pressure where if you dumped it across into the 2 metre, you would hit the target depth. So it was inherently safe, you couldn't over-pressurise, but you had this enormous amount of energy there to be able to whack it in there really, really quickly. And so, because you can't put your hand to your face and put a visor on, clear your ears, we made these nose clips out of sprung steel. The actual escape suits came with their own nose clips for those that wanted to try and keep it under pressure. Because we were instructed to do something in the escape tank, we were very
just getting impatient.
practiced at clearing the ears and stuff. So we did it down to 120 metres in 20 seconds. The heat was unbelievable. And he got quite a nice little narcosis as well. Did you? Anyone feel a bit different at 40 metres? No. I think the heat and the funny voices does it as well. Well, your second stab at the words was pretty good at the deco spot there. How did the group number 1 do for the okay, words? Brilliant, that's the answer. Excellent. So I often hear people saying that, I'm laughing at the go, I must have PCI. Well, when I was working at the escape tank, we had a wet belt. It would go down to 30 metres in 20 seconds. You do 20 seconds of breath held, back in the wet belt, back on the surface 20 seconds later. So it was a minute cycle, 30 metres in, and do that 13 times on the bounce with 4-minute surface intervals. I'm not the fittest that ever walked the street and smelled the seas, but there was all shapes and sizes there, and no one got paid doing that. Incredible. As long as we didn't exceed our bottom time, so we added up leaving surface to getting back to surface as a margin of safety. So even though you've done 13 dips for 30 metres in about 45 minutes, your actual exposure to pressure was quite minimal really. So when people say, oh, I did a rapid descent, I used to come up from 30 metres in 20 seconds frequently enough, and it didn't happen to me. But it is always it's a wise caution if you have had a rapid descent like that, is to practice it a while. Have I got any symptoms coming on? Get yourself to a safe environment, reach for the contact card, and get the risk assessment out or whatever it may be. Yeah. That's it. This is what I'm trying to dispel. That if you do come up fast, it doesn't necessarily mean you've got to get.
Are you yawning? Good. It still says stop.
Yeah. It was a bit of a unique situation.
So how much longer do you reckon we'll have to be here? How many more minutes do you reckon we'll have to be here?
So 40 was the average age of the guys doing that. Probably the average BMI as well. So I'm not going to make you do it, but I'm going to say that it's sort of